listed for loves, taking many forms. Trustworthy eyes, hide the devil horns. Preying on the weak, got you feeling tough. Praying on my knees, have you had enough? I held my hands in the air, you held a knife at my back. You always say that you care, but actions speak louder than that. Broken promises, broken point of view, broken thoughts on all that you put me through. All that aside, I kept trying with you. You crossed the line, trying to break me too. Really nothing else left that I can say. Lie every time you look me in the face. Believing you is my biggest mistake. It's about time we break the ties, set 'em ablaze. When I ran away from you, my flame returned. Yes, it's safe to say that now the bridge is burned.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's a brand new week. I am hoping that this week is a little bit better than last week. I know last week was a little slow, a little awkward. It was for me as well. Um, some of you may have thought, wow, this is kind of unbelievable. I woke up every day thinking, I'm living a bad Lifetime movie. Believe you me. Um, I did leave a lot of my story out due to some of it did have to do with some SA. So I thought that that would be triggering to some. But this week, I just want to talk what's on everybody's mind. What is everybody grateful for? I know that I am grateful for what this community has become so far. I'm grateful for every single one of you that is in here. Can you guys do me a favor and share this out? I was pressed for time today and did not get to share this out in the normal places. I had some work being done at my house, and I just barely made it here in time. You're grateful for where your life is taking you through all of your trials, Messy. That is great. I am happy that you are grateful for that. I see Bethany, I see Messy, I see CJ, I see Wims, I see Bama. I'm grateful that you guys are here. I see Bug was here, is here. Still doing the jelly beans. I see you, boo boo. So I don't know that this is going to be as long as it was last week, but I still want to encourage anyone that has a story to come share your story if that is something that you want to do. Like I said before, that was one of the biggest things that helped me in my journey was hearing other stories, hearing how they went through their trials and tribulations and how they went through their journey. Yes, Bama, being grateful for every day that you wake up. That is something that I am grateful for myself. Yes, CJ. Friends and our children. Sometimes, children can get on our nerves. You know, but I wouldn't change a thing. Sometimes they make things difficult, but that's their job, man. Life's not supposed to be easy, but sometimes we feel like sometimes things are harder than they should be. As am I, Wims. I'm grateful for a supportive village of friends and family. So this week I have been working on trying to network a little bit more. The algorithm of my TikTok has changed significantly. I am seeing more survivors like myself. I'm seeing more recovering addicts. I'm seeing a lot of trends. Jobs, yes, jobs. I'm grateful for a job. I'm sorry I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm reading the chat as I'm going on my spiel. I'm sorry if I'm losing anyone. I'm trying to find my niche. I'm trying to find my groove. I feel like maybe sometimes I have squirrel moments. And I'm like, ooh, squirrel. But from somebody who's sitting on this side of the screen, I feel like while I'm doing this, I'm sitting here in a room staring at a wall or a monitor and just talking to myself. So it is a little awkward. And I have noise canceling headphones on. So even more, I'm hearing my voice in my head. So it's kind of awkward. Um, what was I saying? I'm networking more. Um, I'm seeing more survivors, more recovering addicts in my algorithm. And I've made it a point every day as I scroll to leave a positive and encouraging comment on every single one of their videos that I see. A new person every day. Because, like I've said before, you and your comment could be the light at the end of someone's tunnel. You could be making that difference in someone's life. It doesn't matter that I'm a stranger or that they're a stranger. I'm not getting anything personally out of it other than knowing that I, as Beatty would say, am a human helping another human. Because believe you me, there are many things that I, as probably many of you, have been through in your lives that has made you doubt your faith in humanity or the human race completely. I know there has been in mine. And there have been many times that with just stuff that I see on the news, stuff that I see in Facebook feeds, Twitter feeds, whatever. And I'm shocked and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how is this the world we live in? And it makes me lose my faith in humanity just a little bit. But why can't I help try to restore that a little bit, one comment at a time? And maybe it sounds cheesy, maybe it sounds dumb. But I also, a few months ago, came to a community where I see a lot of hate. And I'm tired of seeing hate. I'm tired of seeing fighting. And even in family life, in my real life, I'm tired of seeing people feud and fight and hate. It sucks. So I'm just going to continue to spread positive messages and positive vibes because we're all we have is each other. And I don't want to be the reason that someone doesn't wake up tomorrow. And I'm not going to feel guilty for cutting myself off from someone that wants to talk about people. So on that note, I do have a community. I've talked about it. I talk about it in my shorts. I talk about it on my TikToks, to where I promote sharing the message of hope, positivity, inclusivity, supporting one another, humans helping other humans. there is an expectation of confidentiality. And I trust everyone that is in that community until you give me a reason not to. So I'm going to support you. I'm going to listen to you. But there may come a time that when I may see that or hear that unkind things are being said about others within the community behind their backs in places that they are not there at the time or there at all to defend themselves. And that is not okay. That is not supporting members of our community. That is not being the light at the end of someone's tunnel. I don't want that in my community. I can still care for you. I can still have empathy for you. And still be here to listen to you. But I can't allow that kind of stuff to happen within the community and to infect everyone else. Because not everyone is as strong of a person as I am. And I'm not diminishing anyone's strength, but I'm not willing to jeopardize anyone else's mental health other than my own because you want to go and not be a human helping other humans. So I am sorry if that is not okay with anyone, but I'm all about positivity. I'm all about supporting, and I'm all about sharing the message of hope. And being negative and saying unkind words about people is not being very hopeful and helpful to anyone. We're a community of love, outreach, and support. And if that is the kind of community you want to join, you can find forms on my YouTube. You're not a jerk, bird. I love that messy positivity. Positivity. No, bird, there's a time and a place where you just have to stand up to someone and be like, hey, that wasn't cool. And you can't do that. Where was I going with that? You guys distracted me. I really love you guys. You guys make me feel like I'm not making a fool of myself up here, even though I feel like I'm making a fool of myself up here. Now I've lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I'm nervous. I have forms that are links to Google Docs that come to me that you can fill out for outreach if you're struggling with mental health, struggling with substance abuse, struggling with DV, and you need resources. And I and my team, who, disclaimer, are not licensed professionals, we are just humans wanting to help other humans, can help gather those resources that are in your local area to help you. Also, there is a form that you can fill out anonymously that links to a Google Doc that can let you ask anonymous questions for advice. I am going to once I can figure it out, because I'm still trying to figure it out, put this in the chat so I'm not chatting by myself. If you want to come and have a conversation. And we will read those aloud. Anybody that wants to be on my panel that day that wants to help you. And these can be questions you have about recovery. These can be questions you may have for any of us that are in recovery. I am just, rebuilding my platform. So it's nothing spectacular right now. I would also like to thank the Apple Charlotte, hands down, for that wonderful intro that I now have. She did a fabulous job on that. I really appreciated the time and the work that she did on that. I had said, hey guys, I'm doing this. Do I need an intro? And I don't know the first thing about doing it. And she was like, I can help you. Suck cookies. I'm sorry. I was really, really pressed for time today. I had some work being done on my house and I did not get to post all of my, hey, I'm going live in so many minutes updates everywhere that I usually do. I was bad. I was bad on, my PR team was not on it today, okay? Meaning me. I am my PR team. I suck it. So, yeah, I don't know that this will be a very long live. I am not. I don't know what to talk about. I'm trying to get watch hours. I've gained a few more subscribers in the last week. PR is overrated. Well, I know who not to use. And I didn't expect this to be a busy, overcrowded live because it is a holiday weekend. But I took into consideration that sometimes holidays are harder for addicts because it just is. I know that I experienced a lot of grief when I was going through recovery when it came to any kind of holidays, no matter how big or small they were, because of family time. And I had to move away from my family because that was part of, changing my people, places, and things. Now, for all those that did not hear on my first stream, my drug of choice was methamphetamine, crystal meth. That's what I celebrated 7 years clean of on the 2nd of this month. For all of you that may not have heard that on the first stream, I think I said it, but just for clarification. Also, I did not fully participate in a 12-step program. I did for a short time because, like I said in the previous stream, I felt that a lot of the groups that I went to were hypocritical. It did not work for me. But I will not diminish it for anyone else that says that it did work for them. I'm proud for anyone that it did work for. I mean, I still have some of the books. And one of the things that did work for me that is part of the 12-step program was changing my people, places, and things. So, hey, I mean, I'm not saying that all of their stuff is wrong. Just sitting in those rooms wasn't right for me. I didn't go to a rehab facility. I didn't go to a detox facility. And I've never had to take any medication such as methadone, Suboxone, any of the, I don't even know what they all are because I didn't have to take them. I did it all on my own. I did it all the hard way. Probably the wrong way too. but I did it that way. Recovery isn't the same for everybody. Yes, Messy, different strokes for different folks. So that's another thing. You can't diminish anyone's recovery because not everyone's recovery is the same. Yes, Sky, some people have told me that. Like, so my ex-husband told me that he didn't like participating in NA because it was triggering to him. And at the time when I was really into it and I was not missing a meeting, I was going almost every day of the week. And when there wasn't NA, I would go to AA. Sometimes I would go to 2 meetings a day. I would go to NA. I go to AA in the morning and NA at night. And he would tell me I can't go to those meetings. They're too triggering. And I didn't understand that. But I get it now. I get it now. And you're right, Haiti. It's not a linear path. It's not. It's like that cork board with all the little strings wrapped around all the little push pins. It's here, there, everywhere. Like a murder board. It's everywhere. And I keep thinking I'm missing somebody. Like, it's harder for me to see the comments when I'm on StreamYard. So I have my YouTube open in another window. And I keep thinking that somebody might be backstage and I'm not looking and ignoring. Yeah. I mean, I understand that, Sky. Like, see, I went back after I was a few years clean. Like, I went back to celebrate like my 1 year, and I went back a few years ago just to go see my sponsor, and I was fine. And I sat in the room with some of these people that I knew used to go out and do the illegal things with my ex-husband. It was awkward, but I felt it was different. And see, I had to leave a small town where everyone knew everyone and come to the larger city to get clean. So it's that's a perfect example of how it's different for everyone. I had to come to a bigger location to get better. And I'm afraid because I know everyone in that smaller location because that's where my family is, that if I go back that I will be putting myself in a bad position. Because if I wanted to, if I was in a position to sell my home tomorrow, I could and go build a home down there because it's waiting for me. The property's waiting. But I don't feel like I'm self-aware enough to know that that's not a good position to put myself in. And also the fact that my abuser is down there. So no, thank you. But you, no. Being self-aware is a good thing. Just like the gentleman that did the work on my home today in my yard. You know, I didn't know it. He did some work for my best friend, and I forgot that she had told me that he was in recovery. And he had refreshed my memory. Just coughing today. He had refreshed my memory when he did my quote via FaceTime. And when he told me that, I felt like, okay, that's the reason why the first quote that I got was way too much. The second person that said that they would be out to do my quote later in the week that week canceled on me. And the third quote was the cheapest, but then they never followed through on setting up a time to do the work. That it was meant to be that this guy was meant to do the work for me. So today he took my hand and told me thank you. And I told him no, thank you. And I told him that I was proud of him and to keep fucking going. The connection was meant to be. And then before he left, he asked me to share my YouTube channel link to him through a text message. So, the universe works in weird ways. I don't think that it wasn't meant to be. So, there's that. My brother-in-law left the state and he's done fine for 20 plus years. He was young and needed to be away from people he knew. It worked for him. Exactly. That's what it takes sometimes, Bama, is changing who you know. Because it's those people that you know that are getting you in the fuckery. I know that's what my problem was. It was, I trusted the person that I loved would not steer me wrong and, made me feel like, oh, we're good. It's not going to be a problem until it was a problem. We told ourselves it wasn't going to be a problem, and then it became a goddamn problem. My best friend at the time. So when I allowed to, like, yeah, I'm gonna bring those drugs to my house. We're going to do drugs together. We're going to have a fun time. Nope, it's not. Thank you, Messy. It is beautiful because I felt like I was fulfilling my desire of continuing to show hope by giving him an opportunity because he told me he's only been in recovery for a year, guys. And he built his own business. So I was contributing to him doing something positive in his life, okay? Which was staying out of trouble and working. Providing for himself and his family. I don't know if he has a family, like we didn't get that personal. But I know he had somebody that was family working with him today, side by side with him. So he was providing, so I guess, yes, he was providing for himself and his family. And I was sharing my message of hope with him. And I told him to keep fucking going. And he told me, I only hope to be able to get where you are someday. And I said, you will. As in years of recovery. And he was telling me how, how the last year just flew by. And I said, it does. You don't think about it. After so long, you don't think about it. But when that anniversary date comes up, you do. And you're so fucking proud of yourself. You're so fucking proud of yourself. So it's the little things in life like that, those little connections that mean something. So I told him no, thank you, when he told me thank you. Because it meant a lot to me, because I felt like it was meant to be. Anybody have anything else? Any questions? So, did anything exciting happen to anyone this week? Anything positive happen? Oh, is this the thing that Starlight was talking about? I think it is. Yeah, that's so dinky and weird to show the comments on the stage. Dead air, dead air. Okay, well, I guess I might end this one because it's only a 30-minute live. I thought maybe it's hot girl summer, getting my physical and mental therapy in order this summer. Haha. Yes, I finally shared my story with a few people, and I'm grateful for this community. Do I ever worry about my children struggling with addiction as someone that is going through recovery? Bama, yes. I'm grateful as well because I shared my story with you guys and it felt great to be able to share my story. So I know how you feel and I'm here for you. And yes, it is hot girl summer, Sky, and it is time to work on you. Get it, girl. And okay, so I need to get better at like not reading everything all at once. I'm sorry. I'm finding my niche, guys. Whims. That is something that keeps me up at night. Do you ever worry about your children struggling with addiction as someone that is going through recovery? Every fucking day of my life. And I'll tell you why. I have two children that were diagnosed with ADHD. What do they prescribe a lot of children that have ADHD? Medications that are often described as pharmaceutical methamphetamine. Their father also had an ADHD diagnosis. I'm worried because my children have been, like him, chemically dependent at a very young age. Will always want to be chemically dependent. Because, like I had shared in my previous story, I didn't notice until it was too late that he had always been an addict. It scares the living hell out of me. And I can sit here and say, oh, they've watched what he and I both did. You can sit here and say, I've watched somebody struggle through it and I'm not going to end up like that. All you fucking want. For those of you that don't know, I think I may have mentioned it last week, but I have a sibling that struggles with addiction. She started out with the same addiction that I did to methamphetamine, and it only grew to worse substances. And I had told my mom, I'm not going to ever put you through what she's put you through. I, I don't understand how someone can get addicted like that. I knew that a grandparent of mine was an alcoholic. Like I watched people around me become addicted and fall apart and see what it did to my family. And I said repeatedly, I'm never going to be like that. I'm not going to do that. That's not going to be me. That won't be me. You can sit and watch somebody go through it. You can be affected by it and say you're not going to do it all you want. But as I know, and I'm sure a lot of you know, actions don't always match words. It's not enough to talk about it. You got to be about it. And scares fucking shit out of me daily. And especially now since one of them is an adult. And I know that he was sneaking around stealing my cigarettes and stealing my vapes and alcohol when it was available in other people's homes. Like, I know that he had tried marijuana. Like, he succumbs to peer pressure very easily. So it worries me deeply. One thing I had always said was not my son until it was. And that scares the shit out of me, Bama. Because I've watched what my mom has went through with my sibling. And when it came time for me to go through what I went through, and I know it's shitty to say, there was no empathy for me. I feel you, Wims. It's not enough to worry because they're your fucking kid and all the other shit that's out there in this world. And there's a lot of people that will sit here and say that it's not fucking hereditary, that it's not a goddamn disease. Look at the fucking medical findings. I mean, I feel like I am fearful for my children because there's addiction on both sides of our family. Like before him and I. You can't tell me it's not fucking genetic. But I know it can be beat because I and many others are living proof of that. There are some that are not like me and just didn't walk that path at all. That's something I do and need to want to look at is medical findings I've never looked at. We could do that, Bama, if you want to. I mean, if that's something you don't want to do alone, or if it's something you want to do alone, just let me know. I could do something, do a research show. I've been seeing something on TikTok, and I don't know how true it is. It's a trend that only 2% of us make it out that are addicted to methamphetamine. I don't know what that's about. I will say one thing. I feel like nicotine's a hell of a lot harder for me to quit than meth ever was. I'll be cigarette free a year in July, but I went straight to vaping. And this is the longest I've ever went. I've tried to quit cigarettes several times in my life, but this is the longest I've ever went. Before it was 4 months was the longest stint I'd ever went without smoking a cigarette. And I always made excuses for that too. It was stress, stress, stress. I'm just always so stressed out. And I guess, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could say it's a mood mind altering substance as well. Because people get pissy when they don't have nicotine. But it's not an illegal substance. I don't know. The lines on that are blurred. Um, and then I've been seeing some trends on TikTok where there's moms like saying, I've sat in my car for an hour today so I didn't relapse. Or I sat in my room today for an hour so I didn't relapse because I knew my mom needed their kids. And those are the types of videos that I've been commenting on and letting those women know that I'm proud of them. But at the same time, I'm worried about them because being alone, I know wasn't good for me. One thing my doctor told me when I made a comment about someone in his office 13 years ago was there's no difference in that cigarette you're smoking than the pills they're addicted to. That changed me. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather have a vape in my mouth than a freaking meth pipe. Just saying. That's my opinion. That's the way I look at it. And before, I'd rather it be a cigarette than a meth pipe. Right. And there's caffeine addiction, there's gambling, there's there's all kinds. It's not just substances. I don't know. I do know I was told that I would never get away from it. I'd never stay out of it when I went through my court stuff. I had a very biased judge. And he no longer is a judge. He retired and voted out, but I wish that he still was a judge so that I could look him in the face and tell him he was wrong. Or in my Medea voice, go, how you doing? Because he looked at me and pointed at me one day in court and said, you're not the first one that's come through my courtroom. And you're not. No, I wanted to tell him, how you doing now? He said, you're not the first one and you're not the last one that's come through my courtroom and stood in front of me. And you're clean now, but you won't be. You won't make it. You'll be back. I've seen too many of you. Now what? And that was just for my divorce and custody. I wasn't in legal trouble. Let me clarify. I never got a drug charge. One, never got a drug charge. I was not in trouble for drugs. This was simply for my divorce and custody. And it was being thrown in my face that my children were in guardianship with their paternal grandparents. Is that what they call the father's side? Under a guardianship with him, with his parents, because I was a self admitted drug addict, because I told on myself, because I did the right thing, because I was crying for help. But I was wrong for that. So therefore, I was the bad guy. And their dad, my ex-husband, was just like trying to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes in court. Well, she does drugs. No, no, I'm clean. And then they ordered the very first hair follicle, and I felt very humiliated. Like, the very first hair follicle test I had done, I felt like they cut off more hair than they needed to. Like, there was chunks of my hair missing. It was absolutely horrible, the place that I went to. Like, I don't think the place knew what they were doing. And it took forever for it to grow back. But he didn't have to do one. I had to do one. And he's the one that got a possession charge. Make that make sense. Like a month after me leaving, he got pulled over and got a possession charge. But he still was like, I don't do drugs. You got caught with loaded syringes, sir. It was stupid. But I was the bad guy. Just like their attorney for the grandparents said that because I was at the time attending NA classes, that I was consorting and surrounding myself with addicts because I went to NA meetings. Because I sat there and said under oath that I moved away and did not have anything to do or any friends that were addicts. So I sat there and I looked that attorney in the face and I said, sir, someone with your legal education and position in this courtroom should know that those places are there to help people and support people. I said, obviously, you're an idiot. And I said that in front of the judge and my attorney. And then that's when my attorney leaned over to me and whispered in my ear, you should be an attorney. So, yeah, I paid my attorney basically almost $10,000 to represent myself for 4 years because he felt like I knew what I was doing. I spoke for myself in every hearing. Because all they wanted to do was slander me and try to make me look bad. Because I admitted I was a fucking addict and I got help. They wanted to make it look like because I moved almost 100 miles away from home that I abandoned my kids. But little do they know that I figured out how to go and print out messenger messages from Facebook and text messages off of my iPhone that showed that I was trying to call, trying to message, trying to see my kids, and was denied every fucking time. There was one time I went into court and there was no female bailiff. So they wanted me to piss in a cup. And there was a guy, deputy there, and I was like, I'll piss in front of him. I don't give a fuck. I did. I pissed in the cup and I pissed fucking clean. And I said, see, I told you, there ain't shit in my system. They said, oh, she could have faked that. I was watched by a deputy of the opposite sex, guys. But I faked my piss test. So right after court, they said, we want a hair follicle. So right after I said, well, I wasn't getting one unless he did. And so they're like, fine, well, I'll pay for yours if you pay for mine. The fuck? So I had to go across the street right after court and go get a hair follicle test again. So I had 2 different hair follicle tests in the 4 years. I figured, CJ, because you're talking about different stuff. It was stupid. And eventually, so it was a small town that all this court shit was going through, right? The judge recused himself, removed himself from the case because the judge that was over our custody and divorce was the judge that presided over the drug court that my husband was in. But for 2.5, almost 3 years, he was over our case. And it took him that long to finally decide to remove himself, to withdraw himself, because he felt that it was a conflict of interest. The fuck? It was stupid small town bullshit. So 3 judges and 4 years later, and it was a woman judge, and he went to prison, the ex-husband. it was finally over. And I walked out that courtroom with everything I fucking wanted. I won. And just February, my ex-father-in-law told me he was proud of me, proud of everything I've done to turn my life around. And he was sorry for everything that his late wife and his son did to me because he knew how much they had my back against the motherfucking wall. So there's that. I'm sorry, I went off in a totally different space after I started telling you what the judge said about me. But yeah, the justice system is fucked, guys. There are people in those positions of power that cannot remain unbiased. And I think that's absolutely fucked up. I get seeing people doing the same shit over and over again. But it's your job to remain unbiased and to uphold the fucking law and to uphold to your fucking ethics and to not say the shit that you said to me and to other people because of your personal fucking feelings. And the reason why you see as many fucking people as you do that are addicted to those fucking drugs is because you keep enrolling them repeatedly in that drug court program. And they keep failing out of it. Obviously, there's something wrong with the program that you're running because I know not all drug court programs are the same everywhere. I know that for a fact. They have different requirements, different restrictions. And, don't give people an option to fail. Give them the option to fucking succeed. There needs to be more opportunity to succeed. But when you're constantly setting people up to fail, and, I'm not saying the answer is fucking prison, but some of these people don't even, like, some of them I know, they'd go in for a shock time and then they'd come out and they put them right back in the program that they failed. And then they'd fail it again. It was a cycle. It was the definition of insanity. Doing something over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And, I've been in school for criminal justice for the last 5 years now, going on my 5th year. I've already obtained my bachelor's. I'm working on my master's. Every year there is something about reform. And it's not just prison reform. It's reform of the criminal justice system, guys. And there's a class that I've taken. There was one that I took this year about it being a flawed system. There was one that I took for my bachelor's degree about it being a flawed system. That it needs reform. If you're teaching this in school, why isn't something being done about it? I don't feel like there's enough rehabilitation for us. Because I feel like everybody is capable of rehabilitation, aside from people that do especially heinous fucking crimes. There is an exception to every fucking rule. So don't come for me about certain things, okay? Everybody is deserving of a second fucking chance. But, I don't know. That's my rant for today. I want to thank you guys for coming. I've been on for about an hour. I think this was a good live. I think I'm at a good stopping point. I know it's a holiday weekend. I want everyone to stay safe. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Some of us got a longer weekend. I know I do. I'm looking forward to having this extra freaking day. I hope this stream was a little less boring. I noticed I lost some viewers, but it's cool. You know what? I can only go up from here. I'm going to try to work on maybe planning out some content, maybe figure out how to do slides more. Make it a little more interactive, a little more fun. I'm just starting. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I have high hopes. I don't know where it's going, but I know it's headed for greatness. And until then, just know that it's not hopeless, that there is hope. I love you guys. See you next time.